Welcome back to our channel, guys. Today is a beautiful Monday here in the DMV area, but let me tell you, things are about to get incredibly dark, twisted, and utterly explosive inside the gates of our favorite community. Grab your favorite drink and settle in, because the latest drama unfolding with our favorite families is absolutely mind-blowing. We are tracking some massive betrayals, shocking physical altercations, and dangerous mind games that are shifting the entire landscape of the show. Let us dive right into the madness and piece together these wild clues. A brand new week has kicked off, and the tension is already suffocating. We have to start with the absolute bombshell involving Andre. Guys, I am still reeling from this sequence of events. It all began at the club, where the atmosphere was thick with unspoken secrets. Vernon happened to be there, just observing the room when he spotted Andre walking in. Now, Vernon has always had a sharp eye, and he immediately noticed that something was completely off with his son-in-law. Andre looked incredibly tense, almost paranoid, scanning the room as if he was being hunted. Suddenly, Andre received a mysterious text message on his phone, and his entire demeanor shifted. He looked panicked, quickly turned on his heel, and rushed out of the club without speaking to a single soul. Vernon watched this entire bizarre exit unfold, and if you ask me, this could mean Vernon is already piecing together that Andre is hiding a massive, dangerous secret from the family. While Andre was making his hasty exit, Danny was frantically trying to get a hold of him. She was dialing his number over and over again, completely desperate for a connection, but Andre was entirely ignoring her calls. He was completely off the grid, and we soon found out exactly why. Instead of going home to his wife, Andre walked straight into a mysterious, quiet hotel. He navigated the hallways with extreme caution, checking over his shoulder before slipping into a specific room. The room was pitch black when he entered. You could feel the heavy, dangerous anticipation in the air as he stepped inside. He moved cautiously into the darkness, and then suddenly a single lamp clicked on. Sitting right there in the dim light was Heather. Guys, no one saw this coming in such a raw, intimate way. Andre was forced to come face to face with the darkest parts of his European past. His history has officially caught up with him, and it is actively tempting him to cross a line he can never uncross. Heather did not just summon him there to threaten him. She secretly arranged this private, isolated meeting to put him in an incredibly compromising position. She is brilliantly, ruthlessly trying to rekindle their old dynamic right at the exact moment when things between Andre and Danny are fractured and vulnerable. By acting exactly like a former lover who knows his deepest desires, Heather set a psychological and physical trap. And the most shocking part, Andre fell right into it. The two of them ended up cuddling, completely surrendering to the dangerous intimacy of the moment, enjoying a deeply private encounter with absolutely no interruptions. There is a strong chance that Andre is completely under her spell again, or perhaps he is so terrified of what she knows that he feels physical submission is his only way out. What if Heather is recording this? What if she plans to destroy Danny by sending her the proof? It seems that Andre has just made the biggest mistake of his life, and the fallout is going to be apocalyptic. Meanwhile, across town at the law firm, a completely different kind of warfare is escalating into physical violence. We need to talk about the incredibly sinister game Haley is playing. She is a master manipulator, and she recently cornered Tomas, whispering pure poison into his ear. She planted a highly toxic seed, telling Tomas that Naomi is actively plotting to take over the entire law firm from Bill. Now, Tomas already has a massively bruised ego after his recent romantic humiliations, so he was the perfect fragile target for Haley's lies. Not wanting to disappoint Haley, Tomas immediately went on the offensive. He has been relentlessly harassing and scrutinizing Naomi ever since that whispered conversation. Currently, Naomi is drowning in stress. She is incredibly busy trying to manage her own terrifying health crisis, taking care of her father, and desperately trying to keep the firm afloat by strictly following the operational directives Bill left behind. She is just trying to hold everything together, but Tomas refuses to back down. He has been breathing down her neck, questioning her every move, and showing absolutely no signs of stopping his tyrannical behavior. Naomi is completely exhausted, emotionally drained, and utterly sick of dealing with an overly ambitious man who has zero self-control or boundaries. So she finally decided to fight back. Guys, the tension snapped in the most spectacular way possible. Right there in the office, amidst towering, unhandled piles of legal files and chaotic paperwork, Naomi unleashed her fury and delivered a stinging, vicious slap right across Tomas's face. The sheer shock of that moment was incredible. This could mean Tomas is going to retaliate with a massive lawsuit or try to get her disbarred. What if Haley uses this exact physical altercation as the ultimate proof that Naomi is unhinged and needs to be fired? It seems that Naomi just played right into Haley's sinister hands, and the law firm is about to become an absolute war zone. In another part of Fairmont Crest, the drama is taking a slightly more fashionable, yet equally disastrous turn. Kat and Chelsea are trying to mix high fashion with deep family politics, and it is backfiring spectacularly. The two of them sat down with Anita to pitch a brand new business decision that they were incredibly excited about. Kat, trying to be cautious but clearly lacking any real self-awareness, revealed that they are preparing to launch a brand new luxury handbag design. And the name they chose, they proudly announced they want to call it the Nikki. Guys, the reaction was instantaneous and brutal. Their proposal hit a massive brick wall. Anita did not give them the supportive, proud grandmother reaction they were hoping for. Instead, she was absolutely horrified. And if you know the history of this family, you know exactly why. Nikki is the deeply condescending, mocking nickname that Leslie always uses to taunt Nicole. It is a name soaked in decades of bitter rivalry, jealousy, and bad blood. Anita looked at them in sheer disbelief and flat out asked if the girls were actively trying to get themselves disowned by the family. It was a harsh, necessary reality check. Even though Anita is currently managing her own delicate health recovery, she is absolutely not losing her grip on her matriarchal power. She is standing firm, making sure her family members stay in line and do not disrespect their own blood for the sake of a cheap fashion gimmick. There is a strong chance Kat's erratic, impulsive behavior post-surgery is completely clouding her judgment, and Chelsea is just blindly following her off a cliff. What if this massive insult permanently fractures Kat's relationship with Nicole? It seems that Kat is spiraling out of control, and this handbag disaster is just the tip of the iceberg. But all of this pales in comparison to the life and death stakes currently unfolding at the hospital. Bill has just survived a catastrophic health crisis that forced him back into a hospital bed, sending the entire family into a state of absolute panic. He is currently relying on a pacemaker to keep his heart beating, but the real danger isn't his heart condition, it is the two women fighting over him. The tension between Haley and Danny is reaching a boiling point right outside his hospital room. Despite his incredibly fragile state, Bill is making his desires known. He explicitly demanded to see Danny. He wants her presence in his life, and he is not hiding it. This specific request sent Haley into an absolute blinding rage. It proves to her that she is rapidly losing her psychological control over Bill. Haley is desperately trying to act as the ultimate gatekeeper, demanding that she alone gets to decide who is allowed to visit her husband, strictly under her watchful, paranoid supervision. But Danny is not backing down. Danny stood her ground right in the middle of the hospital corridor, bluntly defending her absolute right to be by Bill's side, completely disrespecting Haley's authority as his wife. This confrontation made their bitter war entirely public. Haley is absolutely terrified that Danny is going to pull Bill back into their shared past, completely erasing his current marriage. Haley knows that the harder she tries to lock Bill down, the more justification Danny has to swoop in and play the hero. Danny's constant hovering is making Haley reckless and sloppy. Meanwhile, Bill, with his failing health and ticking pacemaker, is rapidly approaching a point where he can no longer avoid making a final, definitive choice between these two women. What if Bill already suspects Haley is the one who poisoned him and he is using Danny as a human shield? There is a strong chance Bill is playing a massive, manipulative game from his hospital bed, stringing them both along for his own survival. However, Danny's obsessive behavior regarding Bill is not going unnoticed by her own blood. She has officially backed herself into a very dangerous corner with her family. Anita, Vernon, and Nicole staged a highly intense intervention. They are deeply suspicious and deeply disturbed by Danny's erratic behavior ever since Bill was readmitted to the hospital. The ultimate red flag. During a frantic moment, Danny suffered a massive Freudian slip and actually referred to Bill as her husband, completely dropping the word X. That slip of the tongue sent shockwaves through the room. Her parents and her sister are absolutely terrified that Danny is secretly rekindling a full-blown romance with Bill. They vehemently oppose any reconciliation with that man, especially because Danny currently has a seemingly wonderful, stable marriage with Andre. They cannot understand why she would risk a good man for a toxic past. Danny, heavily deep in her own delusion, desperately tried to reassure them. She aggressively claimed that she is not getting back together with Bill at all. Her excuse? She insists she is simply helping the other girls protect a weak, vulnerable Bill from a dangerous predator like Haley, who is clearly deceiving him. But guys, if you ask me, Danny is completely lying to herself. She is using this savior narrative as an excuse to feed her addiction to Bill. No one saw this coming, but Danny is actively destroying her own life. She is completely oblivious to the fact that while she is obsessing over saving Bill, her actual husband, Andre, is currently wrapped in the arms of an international criminal in a dark hotel room. The dramatic irony is absolutely sickening. Finally, Vernon decided he had heard enough excuses and took matters into his own hands. Like the ultimate protective patriarch, Vernon marched straight into the hospital to confront Bill face to face. He stood over Bill's hospital bed and bluntly demanded to know exactly what Bill's intentions are regarding Danny. Vernon is not a fool. He sees the undeniable spark and the twisted joy that Bill brings out in Danny. But Vernon is also fiercely protective, and he is willing to do absolutely whatever it takes to shield his daughter from further ruin. He laid down strict, unbreakable boundaries right then and there. He looked Bill in the eye and called him out for exactly what he is, a greedy, polyamorous man who selfishly strings multiple women along because he refuses to let anyone go. Vernon's ultimatum was chilling. This could mean Vernon is preparing to launch his own aggressive offensive against Bill if he doesn't back off. What if Vernon decides to dig into Haley's background to eliminate the threat himself, accidentally uncovering the poisoning plot? Guys, the board is set and the pieces are moving incredibly fast. Andre is compromised. Naomi is turning violent. Kat is alienating her family. And Danny is caught in a deadly tug of war over a dying man. I cannot wait to see how this all explodes. Let me know your theories in the comments, and I will see you in the next breakdown.